Hello guys, this is Learn City. My name is Olowoni Christopher, the chemistry tutor. Continuing from where we stopped, let's take a look on the particulate nature of matter. Now, when we talk about matter, what is matter? Matter is made up of particles, anything that has mass and occupies space. Now, it means anything that must be regarded to as matter must have a particular mass and it must occupy space. Now, they contain small particles and spaces between spaces of matter. Now, in between matter, we have particles and spaces in between because they attract each other. They said particles of matter attract each other. For example, a table. A table is a solid which is closely binded together. Now, when we say it is closely binded together, the particles of that particular table is what is attracting themselves. So that's why a table is a solid, because it is closely bounded together. Now, the kinetic energy of particles increases with increase in temperature. What does this mean and what does it imply? Now, we say kinetic energy of particles. Kinetic energy is energy possessed by a body in motion. Now, particles of liquid, especially water, is what? Is loosely bounded. Now, when you put a water in a pot and place it on fire, it is initially cooled and what? And neutral. Now, immediately there is an increase in temperature, the particles of the water will start what? Will start moving, and they will start to evaporate. It means the kinetic energy of that particles has increased with increase in temperature. Now, we say the constituent particles of matter may be atoms, molecules, or ions. Now, we have different states of matter. Matter are classified into solid, liquid, and the gaseous states. We have the solid, the liquid, and the gaseous state. Now, let's take a look at them one by one. Now, properties of solids. What are solids? He said solids possess a definite volume and a definite shape. What do we know by this? A table is placed on the floor. It has what? A definite volume, a definite shape, because they are closely binded together. They have a very strong intermolecular forces. The particles of a table is closely binded together. That is why it is being referred to as a solid. He said they are light and almost incompressible. They are light and rigid. They cannot be dismantled easily because they are rigid. They are not flexible, and they are almost incompressible. What do we mean by incompressible? It means it is not so easy to compress the particles of a solid. It is not so easy to compress a table. For example, can we easily press or compress a table? No, because it is a solid and the particles are almost incompressible. Now, they do not diffuse. What does diffusion means? Diffusion is the movement of particles from one region to another region. Solids do not diffuse because they are closely bounded together. The particles are not free. They are closely bounded together. Now, these are the properties of solids. Now, let's look on to the properties of liquids. Liquids have a definite mass. They have definite volume, but no definite shape. Now, do we know why they don't have a definite shape? No, because a liquid will always take the shape of the container where it is being poured into. For example, we might have a cylindrical container. If we pour water into that cylindrical container, the water will take the shape of a cylinder. But if the water is poured into a circular container, it will take the shape of what? Of a circle. So that's why solids don't have a definite shape. The shape ranges according to the shape of the container. He said they are almost incompressible, but they are not rigid. They are almost incompressible. It means the particles of liquids cannot be compressed easily. They cannot be compressed easily, but they are not rigid. They are flexible because the particles are almost free. They are somehow free, not free like that of solids. Solids are closely bounded, but liquids are free. Now, they are not rigid, they are flexible. He said they have high densities, but less than that of solids. Yes, they are not as dense as solids. Now, we also have the properties of gases. Now, what are gases? Let's look on to the properties of gases. It said Gases are compressible. Yes, we can compress gas because the particles are loose. The particles are free. They move around freely. For example, if a perfume is being split, the particles of that perfume will diffuse. They will move around from a region to another region. So it means if I spray a perfume here, in the other room, the odor could be felt because the particles are free and they can move about freely. Now, he said gases have no definite shape. Yes, they take the shape of the container in which they are. They have definite mass because they are matters. Now, they have weak intermolecular forces and they collide with the wall of their container. Yes, if you place, like if a container is filled with air, the air will collide with the wall of that particular container, and they have weak intermolecular forces. It means the structures and the particles of air as a gas are very weak, and that's why they can diffuse all around and can be felt everywhere. Now, we also have plasma. He said plasma have definite volume. They have no definite volume and no definite shape. It means no definite volume for them and no definite shape, and they are seen as ionized gas. It means any gas that has been ionized, for example, the form of water vapor, they are what? Ionized gas. They are plasma. Now, solids and liquid states and the condensed state of matter. Yes, solid and liquid states and the condensed state of matter. In what form? A table has a rigid shape. It has been condensed. It is not free. The particles are not so free, while liquid and gases are known as fluids. Yes, liquid and gases are known as fluids because they take the shape of any container they are. It means they can easily be diverted to take the shape of any container they belong in. So these are the properties of matter, which are solid, liquid, gas, and plasma. Thank you guys.